is yet another Sunday evening, and that means it's time for another live recording of the Auburn Experience podcast. It's the flagship show of everything we do here at E2C Network. Thank you for joining us. We're going to get into a lot of different things in this live recording. Of course, we're going to talk to you before and after the show, but during the show, we're going to talk about Auburn versus Duke in basketball, TV schedules for football, and of course, a whole lot of Auburn potpourri. All that is coming up right now. War Eagle Auburn family, and a special War Eagle and welcome to those of you that consider yourselves part of our little E2C Network family, the best little family within the Auburn family. My name is Kyle. This is Austin alongside me for yet another recording. Your great and wonderful co-host, and we thank you for joining us. Austin, welcome back to another recording, sir.
Thank you. War Eagle to you, Kyle. War Eagles to all our listeners and viewers. It's good to be back on another week. Kyle, we keep saying summertime we'll have dead moments and things to fill, and that just ends up not being the case. It was another busy week, plenty to talk about.
Yeah, listen, I try to take a vacation and stuff just starts happening. It's just the way that life goes. But you got to take those vacations at some point because the way things are rolling right now for Auburn sports, whether we're talking recruiting, whether we're talking about TV schedules, all these things, there's just never a shortage of things to talk about within the Auburn Experience, which I know you and I are thankful for. It's pretty much what we predicated this whole concept around. So,
oh, absolutely. It helps and it gives us plenty of content, but we got to get out of the mindset that it'll stop because it's not happening.
It is not. Can we just all take a second before we say hello to all the audience and just marvel at what's behind Austin right now? This beautiful screen he has set up with our logo and our slogan, sharing the Auburn Experience. It's almost like he cares about what he does here and actually takes some pride in it. Unlike me, who has still not changed anything, at least since last year. So well done, Austin.
Well, thank you. Hopefully we can play around with it and maybe do something fun. But it was just a very last minute thing and something I've been thinking about for a little while. So we'll see what we can make fun of it and what we can have back there. Who knows? Maybe I'll have a list of all the games I've been to and that we've lost.
That would be a good running tally. And I can imagine we could have some shenanigans with that too. We get ourselves into some trouble. A few things may go awry, but hey, that's the nature of doing a show like this. And frankly, it's probably why some of you watch the show is to watch us just fall apart on ourselves and implode within ourselves like a supernova, which then takes out the rest of existence that we know of. Anyway, I don't know why I got scientific and philosophical all at the same moment there, but there you have it. If you are here, we'd love to know that you are hanging out with us. We've got some people checking in with us to let us know that they are here. Make sure you smash the like button as you're coming in. We'll get started with the main show here in just a second. If you got anything you'd like us to discuss in the next few minutes here, maybe a comment or question, go ahead and drop it in now. I will be staying a little bit after the show to hang out with you all. So don't fret if you don't get it in now. We do have Dalton reminding us that the Kick Six is on repeat on
not
the
a bad idea.
He wants the Kick Six on repeat on the TV just over and over and over again.
Not a bad idea.
How about this? For every time that an Alabama fan repeats 4th and 31 and tries to act like that's even on the same level of the Kick Six, that's how many times we'll repeat it. And so it'll probably be a continuous, thing just by that alone.
I'm starting to worry about my power bill.
You are the one that set this up. This was not prompted by me. You went on your own accord and it set this thing up. So that's how it might have to be, though. But anything else, Austin, before we get into the show that we should know about you or anything? How's Auburn's summer going so far? Like, is it nice?
Hot.
Hot?
Yeah, it's very hot. But I mean, such is life, right? I'm sure it's hot where you are too.
Yes, it is. And it's hot down at the beach too.
Yes. Just summer in the South, right? So it is what it is. But it's been good. It's the steady inflow of Camp War Eagle constantly. It feels like there's one every 2 days. I don't know. I've been meaning to look this up. I don't know how many there are in total in a summer now, but it feels like they are cranking them in. Like I think I saw the most recent one. They're posting pictures of it and they were like Camp War Eagle 6. And I was like, it's barely mid-June. We already have had 6. So, that helps keep people coming and going. But yes, as we spend some time downtown while it's not completely overrun.
Right.
But I think I've talked about this before. My wife and I are very we enjoy some of the time the students are gone, but we also like when they're here, and are pretty invested in having them around. And I mean, you got to. That's the perks of living in a college town. So it'll be good here for a month or so, and then we'll be ready for them to come back. And when they come back, that's also a pretty good sign. Football's coming. So
yeah, it's always that balance of you like the hype of having everybody there, but you can enjoy the peace. And I love summers in Auburn. They're awesome. You talk about the Camp War Eagle thing. I feel like they're probably have to have more now than ever because the attendance rate or the admission rate is just continues to go up. It feels like we hear a new announcement that Auburn hit a new record. So with that, more Camp War Eagles. I feel like every time, and I've already been to Auburn several times in what has been the summer just because of some traveling I've had to do and made some stops in to get some footage and stuff like that. And every time I feel like I'm there, I'm seeing somebody with a, whatever you call it, the leaders, the signs, follow me. And there go a bunch of freshmen and they look real fresh.
Oh yeah.
And it reminds me how old, decrepit, and as we talk about here on the show, crotchety I am. Maybe a couple of quick comments here. We got a dog fan apparently popping in on X. Can Auburn land Juju Lewis, the quarterback? It only took 6 minutes for that question to come across. That is like the new Ryan Williams discussion point. I've said this on several different things, and you're not gonna like my response as an Auburn fan or anybody else's fan. I don't care. I don't worry about the decision-making process of an 18-year-old. But when they do commit, we're going to have some fun with it, which we've got some to talk about in this particular show that we're about to do here. But there's a lot of excitement about Mr. Juju Lewis.
Yeah. And can they? Yes. So exactly. So can East Mississippi Community College. Yes, they can. Will they? That's another question. Probably one they'll be asked a lot. And we'll figure out. But thanks for tuning in, I guess. And you might want to spell check that name there.
It's
your username.
Tough look. It's tough look. Tough look. Kevlar asks, does Auburn basketball travel anywhere exciting in the early schedule?
In the early schedule.
I can think of some place on a balmy beach,
Maui, baby.
RIP. Yeah. I thought that one, as I've said before in this show, in all respect to the late Bill Walton, I was not a fan of his commentating, but I can at least see the intrinsic value behind it.
Absolutely. It's different.
And appreciate it. It was unique. He was a unique individual and he brought a lot to the table. So RIP, obviously, to Bill Walton, but the show must go on for us, for the Maui Invitational, and anything else like that. All right, we have been waiting around long enough. Let's get the show going. We've got a 30 to 45-minute show for you, a recording where we'll be mainly just hanging out with each other. Stay tuned after the show. I'll take some comments and questions, things like that. Once we're done, we're going to talk about Auburn potpourri. A lot of different small topics we want to hit at the beginning of the show. Then we're going to talk about Auburn and Duke having a game set up in the SEC Challenge. Huge news this week. And then, of course, we're going to look at that TV window schedule that we're going to be looking at for Auburn football up here. Are you going to pull it up on the screen and surprise me? Is that what's going to happen?
I'm not that prepared.
Okay, I was about to say.
That prepared. We'll do production and later for hopes for things like that.
Hey, y'all, you got to start small.
That's right.
And build your way up. Let's get into it. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1. David Housel described it best. We are living the whole of the Auburn experience. You can quantify it. You can qualify it through a variety of different times, people, places, matchups with certain blue bloods and basketball, TV windows. But no matter how you want to talk about it, the Auburn experience at its heart and at its core is all about Auburn sports, Auburn culture, and of course, the Auburn family. Since it's about family, we got to get some members in here of that particular unit. I'm your host, Kyle. Alongside me, as always, the best co-host in the land, Mr. Austin Scott, back for episode 81. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, War Eagle Kyle. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're not too sunburnt from your vacay. But glad to be back. Episode 81. I mean, that's a good number. That's a really good number.
Really good number.
We can rattle them off here. We got Frank Sanders, CJ Uzama, Jarris McIntyre, Darius Slayton, Terrell Zachary. It's a whole group here for episode 81 of pass catchers and elite pass catchers. So these, when we started this whole thing, not the podcast, when I started my crazy shtick of assigning players to this, these are the numbers that I was hoping to get to, and
the 80s.
And we're here. We're gonna have plenty of content for assigning numbers.
Well, that's a good number. I agree with you. You rattled off some great names there. Go quick plug for everything we do here at E2C Network. We've interviewed Jarris McIntyre as part of our Auburn Roots series. So go check that out where he tells his Auburn story. I forget which number it is off the top of my head, but that's out there if you want to learn about a number 81. But since this is episode 81, let's get into it. We got Auburn potpourri to start off the show as always for you. Lots to discuss here. Let's start off with some increasingly happy news. Every episode, it feels like we are having a Brian Battie update. And we've been very cautious. We have been very reluctant to go dive into details outside of what's been provided by the family, but we are continually getting more encouraging updates from family members of Brian Battie, the Auburn football player who was injured in a gun violence incident, somewhat seemingly was going to be having to deal with some permanent paralysis. And I don't know what the prognosis is on that, but we got the update this past week that not only is he improving, but to the point where he is forming words, moving his extremities more, and actually showing personality coming out. So to me, Austin, there was a time where I felt like we got an update that things are not improving the way they need to be encouraging. And now it seems like every single week we are getting a more encouraging word about Mr. Brian Battie, and it makes me so happy.
Oh, I totally agree. And I read that update this week. I believe from his mother, and you could tell the optimism in her words. You could tell the thankfulness, and that just things are looking good right now. We're not guaranteed anything, but they were very happy to be out of the ICU and happy to kind of take that next step in progress for Brian. And I think that we are very transparent on here. That is an answer to prayer, and we're so thankful for that family to be able to experience some joy in this moment and just pray that continue to get good news and Brian continues to heal properly. We'll continue to keep him in our prayers and hopefully continue to get positive updates.
Yeah, this is just, it makes me so happy in what is such a tragic situation that happens, all too often, no matter what the situation and what it caused, where a young person has something life altering like this happen. And in the prime of their life happening, that can take away what we viewed as their, opportunities of potential and things like that. And obviously this is a big life-changing moment for Brian. And hopefully he is going to utilize this to continue on in his life and continue to do great things in whatever form or fashion that takes shape after this point. But encouraging word for Brian Battie and from his family. Hope we're going to get to talk about that a little bit more in the coming weeks. Let's talk about let's do softball coach stuff, because look, it's a new era for Auburn softball. We've talked about our new coaches, co-head coaches, the Malveaux. They already hired one assistant coach. We've got another one, and this has got a little bit of an SEC flavor too, coming from Ole Miss, stealing one from the Rebs. There's a really interesting dynamic, Austin, between Auburn and Ole Miss these days, stealing coaches and certain shenanigans across several sports, to be honest with you. But Auburn softball hires DJ Sanders to come be another assistant coach. So that brings it up to 2. I'm not really familiar with how many assistant coaches is enough in softball. It feels like we normally have 2 to 3, somewhere in the range of that. When you have 2 co-head coaches, I wonder if that's the beginnings of the end of the staff. And I'm not knowing where she's going to fit into what her focus is going to be. But your thoughts on DJ Sanders coming to be on the softball team?
Yeah, and with no disrespect to her or no awareness to her, I didn't know much about her. It seems like she's been at Ole Miss, Missouri, Mississippi State. So like you said, plenty of SEC experience and flair. But you're right. I have a similar feeling. My first wonder was, is this rounding out the staff? Like, is this kind of an indication of where maybe some names that Auburn fans are wondering where they'll end up are going to be? I think Emily Carriasoni, Hannah Sparks, those are two that I think Auburn fans are kind of wondering, are they in the future for Auburn softball? Mm-hmm. I think you have to be honest and say right now that might look not as much of a possibility as it did before the coaches were announced. But, like we've said before, good or bad, that's kind of the way coaching changes go. They have to, right. You want them to trust their staff and get their own people in. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see if any more hires are announced. But, you have to love the SEC experience flair from these four that we know already.
Right. Good experience across the board, and really exciting to see the new era of Auburn softball continue to take shape over these past few weeks, and we'll continue to watch that. Let's talk about recruiting. I think a lot of people are screaming in that are watching live. Talk about recruiting. Talk about the new commits and all that stuff. So,
for baseball and equestrian and
yes,
for swimming and diving.
Yes, because you should focus on those, but you don't. Let's talk about the football recruiting stuff. We had two big commits. Yes,
I had a whole PowerPoint plan for the other recruits.
As he points to his brand new screen for those of you on the audio podcast. Austin came prepared. He did his homework. We've got two brand new commits. One happened at the beginning of the week. The second happened at the end of the week on a pretty big recruiting weekend for Auburn football. Brian D. Is it Diaz or D's? I haven't figured out how to pronounce it yet.
My gut says D's.
D's. And I think you would agree, even though he's listed as an athlete, if we look at where he's played in high school a lot, you're probably going to see somewhere on a defensive back position with him. There's been some discussion of whether that's a safety, whether that's a cornerback. Does he fit into more of a, I don't know what we call it, the star position anymore, or some version of that? There's so many names for that position.
Oh yeah, that's ridiculous.
The hybrid linebacker safety position. But anyway, that started off the week and got us off to a really good note. Get this thing rolling this week.
I mean, it's one of those cool stories where the guy didn't have an offer, came to Auburn as part of his 7-on-7 team or camp, and earned an offer and then committed. I think that shows you how valuable he views that his hard work and being rewarded for that, and then deciding to commit like that so quickly. Looks like a total athlete. So looking forward to seeing where he fits in. I think you have to love any kind of guy you can get where you don't have them really pigeonholed, but you can see where they fit best, and you just got to get them on the field. Seems like he'll be that kind of guy. And then the second one of the week, Eric Winters from Enterprise, Alabama, the 4-star safety, commits during the big recruiting weekend for Auburn. Mm-hmm. A similar guy, more in that secondary and defensive back mold, but you beat out Georgia and you beat out Miami for him. Those are two big names and Auburn should be in those battles and hopefully winning them. So awesome, great defensive prowess coming on the plains for Auburn, and we're seeing those guys.
Can we just acknowledge the easy marketing for Auburn Creative?
I was waiting for this.
I was, come on. It's whether you want to say winter is coming, the freeze is coming. When I typed out our announcement, obviously after the announcement was made, and I did our little cold front coming from from Enterprise. I'm sitting there thinking I could have done so much more.
Oh yeah.
With this name, and I'm just trying to stick to the script.
Just remember this, folks. Put this away in the back of your mind for whenever his signing day is, whenever Auburn's allowed to talk about him. There will be plenty. Well, let's put an over under on the puns because it'll be there.
Yes. How many winter is coming at this point? I'm going to set it as on signing day, assuming everything goes according to plan.
Sure.
That we're going to hear winter is coming a minimum of 10 times. Will you take the over under on that? Over on under.
10's a good number. I'll say over. I would not be surprised.
It has to come from the staff too. If we get 10 staff members or players, current people part of the program, to say some form of winter is coming, then we'll come back to episode 81 and see if we got that one right. So huge recruiting weekend, and obviously 2026 recruits got rolling too, with kind of some official stuff going on of reaching out to them. So Very exciting time for a lot of Auburn recruiting fans. As a final piece to our Auburn potpourri, I just want to do this. Whenever we have an opportunity to talk about the broad Auburn experience, and as we've mentioned already in the episode, I went on vacation and went down to the Gulf Coast, the beautiful Emerald Coast of Alabama, Gulf Shores, Orange Beach, all that area.
No sharks?
No sharks.
Good.
No land sharks either. Actually, I take that back. I saw one Ole Miss fan, and I could have made a really great dad joke and said, look, folks, it's a land shark, or rebel black bear, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, besides that, here's what I always see at the beach. Obviously, a lot of Auburn fans, a lot of Alabama fans, more Auburn fans this time. I got a ton of War Eagles on the beach, out eating out, doing a little putt action.
There you go.
And can I just say, was down and out until I got a hole in one on a really difficult hole.
Look at him.
And smoked my little brother.
Channeling the inner Jackson Coyven.
I mean, really, that's what I should have yelled. Jackson Coyven. I did the Tiger Woods. I should have done the Jackson Coyven. Anyway, one thing I always see at the beach, yes, your typical Bama fans are there, but the overly intoxicated LSU group.
Oh, yeah.
Every single time.
Where's my corn dogs?
I mean, yeah, dude, you should whip them out right now. Put them on the screen as they come by for you. Austin, do you experience the same thing?
Oh, yeah.
LSU fans, but in a large group and just not in a good state of being.
No, they're enjoying themselves, and only themselves.
And nobody else.
No one else
enjoying having them around. Thankfully, that was day one of the trip, and we didn't have too many bad run-ins with any Alabama fans. A lot of Auburn War Eagles. So outside of that,
excellent.
It was a great trip in those experiences within the Auburn experience. So if you guys have any funny stories out there, any funny interactions with any fan bases, especially Alabama LSU fans down at the Gulf Coast, or just out on vacation, shoot us a message on social media. We'd love to hear about them and, of course, make fun of them with you. All right, look, we could talk about 1,000 different things in Auburn potpourri, but we got to get to the main meat and potatoes of the show. We got some great stuff coming up for you. We're going to talk about the Auburn-Duke matchup announcement, part of the ACC-SEC Challenge. And then we're going to talk about those TV windows that have been announced for the Auburn 2024 football schedule. All that's coming up right now. But first, we got to talk about our friends at Magic Mind. You have heard me talking about them for quite some time now, and don't miss out on your opportunity to give them a look yourself. When we talk about Magic Mind, what are we talking about? We are talking about energy. We are talking about focus. You get that from a lot of different places. Most of you go to something like an energy drink or something that's highly caffeinated. That's great. It gives you that little bit of a jolt you need, but it's probably not the best thing for you for your overall health. I can attest to that as someone who used to overdo the sodas myself. So what you can do to either supplement those energy and that focus that you're looking for, or to replace it altogether, we got you with our friends at Magic Mind. Visit them at magicmind.com/Auburn. Use our code AUBURN for 56% off a subscription, 20% off a one-time purchase. This is an energy focus shot that you can take by itself in addition to maybe your morning coffee or something like that. I've tried it myself, several family members, and can attest to their ability to conquering the need to have that focus, energy, and drive to conquer the rest of your day. We talk about conquer here a lot of here. It's E2C, ever to conquer. And all of those different things that you need to tackle throughout the day. So again, check out our friends at Magic Mind. Visit magicmind.com/Auburn, code AUBURN. Big topic number one tonight. We have got to talk about, Austin, basketball in the summer. Shooty hoops. We get to talk about the schedules. Big news this week. I don't know that I anticipated us getting this early. I don't know if it normally lines up this way.
I don't know.
But here we are. We're talking about the ACC SEC Challenge, the second year of this.
Yep.
We'll take an overall look at it, but this is an Auburn focus show. So let's talk about the Auburn angle of it. The big news, Austin. Auburn versus Duke in Cameron Indoor. Can you believe that we are going to get to go be with the Cameron Crazies?
No, I cannot.
Awesome.
It's one of those things where you tell someone even 10 years ago when Bruce is, hey, Auburn's going to play Duke in the regular season, at one point. It's like, well, that's a good one. I'm sure that'll happen when they bring the video game back. No, it's happening. And this is something I think that the staff is really excited about. I know Auburn fans are excited about because you feel like you've earned that respect. You feel like you've earned the opportunity to be placed in that high profile of a matchup. And this staff is one that's worked for that credibility and has also been wanting that, and they're getting it. So I love it. I think it's going to be an incredible game more than anything, but I think this is a chance Auburn fans and all Auburn families going to have to get to go to someplace. It reminds me, take out the talent of the teams, take out whatever else you want to say. It reminds me so much of Auburn going to Penn State for football. It's one of those things where people don't want to miss it. You don't know when something like that comes around again. Now look, and I'm talking to myself here. And also I'm hearing my wife talk to myself here. Tickets are going to be crazy. Tickets are going to be nuts. Because that's an arena that's small, about as big as ours. So all together, it's awesome. It's going to be amazing, and it's super cool. And I'm pumped for this basketball program to get the chance.
It is an incredible. You want to talk about milestone landmarks of opportunities within the Bruce Pearl era, and we've talked about a lot of them just being knocked over, and he continues to find ways to surprise, to elevate, to bring Auburn to the forefront. And I think getting invited to be a part of a game at Cameron Indoor against the Duke Blue Devils, that pedigree, that blue blood, as much as we all may hate them in college basketball, you got to give the respect where it is due. That is incredible. You are right. Those ticket prices are going to be ridiculous. Will I still be watching the day they come out to see if I can squeeze out, what are they, blood from a coin or something like that, or blood from a quarter? Just every last ounce of money may need to go to this opportunity. You don't want to miss this.
I don't want to hear anything about it because I'm going to try and go, and we're probably going to lose because of that. But I don't want any of our little people to be messing with me about it. It's a once in a lifetime.
If you're not aware, there does seem to be some correlation.
It's all coincidence
with Austin traveling on the road to watch Auburn men's basketball. However,
or any sport really, but
that's fair.
Keep going.
However, may I report to everybody that he did attend the SEC championship game versus Florida.
I did. I'm on a hot streak.
However, it was a neutral site. And
it's okay. That still counts.
I don't know that it does. So I don't know that we can fully say you have redeemed yourself yet.
Well,
it might still be there.
Gonna try. This would be a good one to write the ship on.
It would be a good one, and what an incredible event to be there. Could you imagine if it was flipped and Auburn was hosting Duke? Imagine the camp out that would happen.
Well, it's not. I don't think it's out of the question one day. We're going to continue to do this challenge. It's not out of the question.
Right. And here's the thing. This happens, because of what Bruce Pearl has done with Auburn basketball, the program, but it also happens because of you, the Auburn family. They know this is the same thing I talk about when we talk about why Auburn gets selected for bowls that most people think that they shouldn't get selected for, why TV ratings suddenly jump up for a summer basketball league with just a bunch of Auburn players. Auburn people, put an Auburn flair on something, and Auburn people will show up. So it's all about what Bruce has done with this program. It's about you, the Auburn family, just making Auburn a thing that sells tickets.
It'll be at a primetime tip-off too. And it'll be at a good TV matchup. I guarantee it.
It'll probably, I think it would be, they're not part of Maui this year. No, they're not. They're not part of the Maui Invitational. That would make sense for us to do if we had the chance to play them there, which we did play them in Maui several years back. And it didn't go well. Final four year, but it didn't go well at that point, but it went well at the end of the year. They did have quite the specimen of an individual on that team. no Mike Krzyzewski, no different era. They haven't fallen off completely, and we didn't expect that to happen. So you can expect that this is, like you said, primetime game probably, or whatever slot that's going to get them the most viewership. They're going to put Auburn and Duke because, and Bruce has got such a great relationship with the broadcasters and stuff. They know they want to have. He's great TV. Let's be honest. Duke and Bruce. And by the way, last time I checked, Bruce Pearl still is the head coach of Auburn basketball. Did you notice that?
I did know that. I was very aware.
It was surprising because I was
Not anywhere
told
else.
I was told he was going up north.
Nope. Didn't happen. Keep wishing. Keep dreaming.
Keep dreaming. Keep wishing. Keep selling dreams to people that they can't cash in. It brought it back around. All right, back to this before we dig ourselves a hole we don't need to be in. Super excited for that matchup, and obviously this is a great Auburn team to go to Duke and put up a great matchup. It's part of the ACC SEC Challenge, and should be swapped SEC ACC. But anyway, we won't go there.
Alphabetical. I understand it.
Don't point out the logic, Austin. That's
okay. Sorry,
not fair. All right, so we got Auburn versus Duke. We've got Texas at NC State. We've got Alabama at North Carolina.
Pause right there.
Yes, sir.
All three of those schools are very close to each other, folks. So there's gonna be a lot of basketball happening. Yes. And they're all those games are on the same day. Am I right?
They are all on the same day, Wednesday December the 4th. You are correct. Tobacco Road, I think, as it's called for some of these schools.
Triangle.
We'll have not only just some of the best in the SEC, but two from the state of Alabama, all hosting this. Folks, right now, if you are a business owner in North Carolina, get ready for Wednesday. December the 4th, because there will be hotels booked, there will be food to be eaten, and many other things partaken of, I'm sure.
I'm just hearing the checkbook getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Writing the check right now.
I'm gonna have to sell this. I'm gonna have to sell this TV.
You just got it up there. Don't get rid of it, and we just got it up there. All right, rest of your matchups: Pitt at Mississippi State. I think that could be elusively a good one there. Virginia at Florida. They'll probably double dribble, but it is what it is. Vanderbilt versus Virginia Tech. New era for Vanderbilt. We'll see how that matchup. And I know it's a mad, but I hope high hopes that both those teams can get back up to where they. Georgia Tech at Oklahoma.
I like it.
Maybe a good one. South Carolina at Boston College. South Carolina probably even at Boston College win that one. I'm just gonna folks. I'm gonna remind you what I'm about to say. We are talking about the ACC, the Atlantic Coastal Conference, and the SEC, the Southeastern Conference. And let me just show you. I can't show you.
This is your misfit game right here.
Cal, ACC folks, Cal at Missouri. Not trying to say Missouri shouldn't be. They've earned their place, but still.
Have they?
It's debatable. Whatever. Kentucky at Clemson. I'll move on from that for a minute.
Pretty good matchup.
That's a good one. Florida State at LSU. Probably good. Ole Miss at Louisville.
Yep.
We
like it.
Arkansas at Miami.
Yeah.
That'll be a good one, especially if Miami has a better year. Notre Dame at Georgia. Georgia's rising. Maybe. Syracuse at Tennessee. If Tennessee probably wasn't going to still be great.
Oh, that's a lot of orange.
There's a lot of not right color orange. Wake Forest at Texas A&M. If Wake Forest was better, this would be a great matchup with Buzz Williams too. Why are they not setting up the Virginia Tech Texas A&M rematch for Buzz?
Look, I can't even.
It's right there.
Last year, they did Virginia Tech at Auburn and Texas Tech or Texas A&M in Virginia. And I'm convinced somebody goofed, and that got switched because it makes too much sense to have Auburn and Virginia play and him go play his team. We're going down a rabbit hole, but somebody goofed. If you're listening and watching this, I'm on to you. Somebody goofed that.
All right. So obviously we're talking about it in general. Obviously I want to know which ones you're paying attention to the most, but maybe put this spin on it for me. What, as an Auburn fan, give me your top 3 matchups that you're most interested in, maybe most important to you. I think one's an easy answer, but what do you got for me? Give me something.
Am I including our game?
Our game is there. I'm saying 3 other matchups in this ACC SEC challenge that are of most importance to you as an Auburn fan should be of most importance to any Auburn fan.
I love the Kentucky Clemson game. Clemson went to the Elite Eight. Kentucky's in a totally new era. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. I like that that's on a separate day from Auburn, so I can zone in on that one.
Yes.
Alabama, North Carolina, of course, I'll pay attention. I like that the top rivals are going against top rivals. I think I feel like they've played a lot, though, so it doesn't really interest me as much. Right. It'll be a great game. The Texas-NC State one definitely interests me. I think that those are 2 fun offenses with 2 fun coaches that'll be interesting to see, especially with a brand like Texas coming to NC State. And then you mentioned Arkansas, Miami. I mean, I think that those 2 are going to be such differing styles and differing coaches. It'll be interesting to see where they are at in December. And I think that's another key part I want to mention about this is this will be in the early December when so many teams are still figuring stuff. Right. Auburn will be included in that. So it could be chaotic, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I love how many games there are.
We live in an era where the AC is still considered just historically the better of the conferences in basketball. But the SEC in modern times has risen to the occasion and made this a conversation about currently who could be the best. And this is obviously a challenge that helps sort some of this out here. I think just like we talked about what's most important as an Auburn fan for the SEC winning this, you're looking at probably the most important matchups there. Obviously, Auburn versus Duke, Alabama versus North Carolina, Arkansas, Miami, you throw into the mix there. I think obviously you got to talk about Texas, NC State. Those are going to be your marquee ones, but there are some elusive ones in here I think are going to be important. Virginia and Florida, I think, is one of those that is going to be with Florida making their way to the SEC championship game last year under Todd Golden. Can they maintain that? Ole Miss, Louisville, I think that's important. Georgia Tech, Oklahoma, I think that's the one that's kind of got me intrigued for some reason, not just because it's at the top of the list that I'm seeing here, but that's where I kind of look at in terms of what's most important as an Auburn fan. But when we take the broader SEC scope of winning the challenge, this is the one time that I will be an SEC guy because I want to beat the ACC in this challenge. Lots of good basketball being played Tuesday, December 3rd, and then the most important day, Wednesday, December 4th for Auburn. Time to be announced. Be watching for that. Huge, exciting news in the summer for us to get to whet our appetite for what's going to come for college basketball in a few short months. Big topic number 2 tonight that we've got to discuss. We've been talking a lot of schedules, whether it's, any number of sports that we've been having, but we had definitely, Austin, the last several episodes, or at least maybe skipping one here or there, talking about TV times, kickoff times for Auburn football's 2024 season. And the picture is finally somewhat, in certain scenarios, coming more into view. Don't shake your head. We do know some of the kickoff basically times.
Do we?
Some of them we don't. But the SEC this week, or this past week at the very beginning, announced their windows for the rest of the conference game. So effectively, you as a college football fan, an SEC fan, an Auburn fan, can somewhat plan your whole season out about what to expect. Austin's still shaking his head. Let me give you a little bit more information before we dive into what he's disappointed about, and he is probably right to be disappointed about all of that. So what we had left to be announced outside of non-conference schedules, which was already pretty much figured out, and then some of the marquee SEC games were already announced what times there would be because of TV rights and all that stuff that had to be worked out. But the SEC schedule for the rest of the time was going to fall into an early window, which would be somewhere between 11 a.m. to 12 p.m., a afternoon window, which could be 2:30 to 3:30, a night window, 5 to 7 p.m., and then the flex window. Austin, how much more flex do they need with a 5-hour window to figure out when they want to play these games? I mean,
look,
are you okay?
This is going to be my crotchety old man area. And I'm going to quote our friend because he said it better than I ever could. I'm going to bring up Clint.
Mm-hmm.
Clint's post after it happened. Love that the new TV contract was supposed to bring specific game times early on, and then they just promote it as windows like they're coming to service your HVAC between 8 a.m. and 3 p.m. That's 100% what they did. I feel like I'm waiting on AT&T to come set up my router between 6 a.m. and the sun going down. I mean, this is a joke. I'm sorry. This is absolutely a joke that we were sold a dream. There you go.
Right, there it is again.
On ESPN being able to tell us, okay, you'll know game times in the summer. You can plan your whole trip for October 21st and know what time you need to be there for your Mama G's sandwich and what time you need to walk the Tiger Walk and what. No, all they're doing is giving you giant windows of, hey, we might switch it up, but we're just kicking the can down the road.
Right.
And it makes zero sense to me because it's not the way the NFL does it. And that was what it was supposed to be like, is give the times, but know that it can change based on what the matchups might be that fall. And I'm totally fine with something like that. We look all the time at, say, what happens throughout the year determines where the best game should be. I'm okay with that. That's why in the current model we've had, they wait 2 weeks to see if somebody starts tanking that should be better than they are, or if they have a game that has risen in popularity. And I just don't like it. I don't like how the model is set up. Yes, clearly. And it was, I think, and I get it because I think Auburn is such a team that is traditionally every year can be up and down. Like, you don't know what they're going to get with them. So it lends itself to Auburn getting most of those flex ones because it feels like they got a lot. And I just hate it. I hate it. I don't like it. It feels like I am not convinced we're going to get a night SEC game at home. And that's stupid.
Here's the most valuable piece of what happened. We know when the morning games are going to be.
Oh, yippee.
I know. But at least we know, because how many times have we been dreading, are we going to get that morning game for this one? And then you realize it is, and it's like, like, why this is the one I planned. So now you, the Auburn family, can at least know you're going to be part of a morning event, especially if you're coming to one of those ones that's going to be really hot.
For the first half of the year.
Anyway, actually, and none of those will fall within that. Anyway, let's just talk about it. Okay, so as a reminder, we now know that Auburn, before this announcement, was going to have a 6:30, a 2:30, and a 6:30 kickoff times for their first 3 games against Alabama A&M, Cal, and New Mexico. Let's do this bite size, Austin. I'll take maybe 3 or 4 at a time here. September 21st versus Arkansas, flex. Meaning we have no clue when.
Meaning you can plan, but actually you can't.
Actually, you can't, which is why this is grinding Austin.
You might have your bacon at lunch, or you might have your bacon at night, but you definitely won't have it in the morning.
But at least it's bacon, and you can have it at any time. Like it's good whenever, right?
It's not a bad thing. You're right.
It's not a bad thing. We can make peace with that at this point. September 28th, the big one that we're waiting for on that homestand. First time Oklahoma comes to town, is going to be an afternoon game, which means 2:30 to 3:30. Gonna be hot. Gonna be that. Just be ready. Just be ready. This is why I picked my seat in the upper deck, or where I strategically picked it, because I will get shade before any of you all do. And there's a way to figure that out, folks. Sometimes you sacrifice a little bit of a view for survive up there. So afternoon game for Oklahoma. It could be worse. I do think that we are suffering because of the Alabama-Georgia situation that week, them getting that primetime game. But let's be honest, if you look at the schedule, Auburn versus Oklahoma is probably the second best matchup of that week if both teams do what they're expected to at that point, and you want to fill that midday slot with a primetime level game. So can you make peace with it, Austin?
I can. I really think it would have been awesome to give Oklahoma their first SEC road taste as a night game in Jordan-Hare. But like you said, I get it. That is kind of a downfall of the ESPN contract. They have the ability to put where they want, and Alabama, Georgia is going to get more eyes. It's just going to be the case. So I get it. I think any other week we get that nighttime slot. But
yes,
I get it.
So I think
at least they told us a specific time.
They somewhat specific time, a 1 hour window.
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
That's fine. We'll accept that and move forward. October 5th, a flex for Georgia, meaning you don't know what's going to happen. I think, though, obviously this is contingent upon how Auburn is doing at that point, / what the level of interest in this game in Athens is going to be for a national audience versus just the fact that it's the Deep South's oldest rivalry. It's frustrating. We won't know that, but the way it's going, it feels like it's going to be a night game for what they have chosen to be their homecoming game.
Is the window still for them to decide, like 2 weeks?
That's a great question, and I feel like that sounds right, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
We'll hopefully that we should know within the 2 week, unless you do that weird where they get the extra week to decide.
Gosh.
I know. Let's not even go there. Let's keep moving forward. October 19th, after a bye week, early game, first true early game versus Missouri. Makes a lot of sense. And we're going out to Missouri to play in an early game. That's not a good formula, is it?
No, that sounds like an Auburn disaster, but we'll just take our lumps and bruises and go play Mizzou.
It's like
crack of dawn.
It's like they said, this is a year when Missouri looked like it on paper could beat Auburn just based on what we know currently. Let's make it as difficult as we can for Auburn. We know struggles at 11 a.m. and
on the road.
Gosh,
I'm already getting worked up about that.
He's got a cold sweat going on right now. However, and I will tell you this is, I think, kind of fun. A night game versus Kentucky, who could be good or bad. Auburn, obviously
on the road.
On the road. I've been to Lexington to a night game there, and that was a lot of fun. Their announcer's annoying, but it is also CM Newton Stadium, which really threw me for a loop being there. The championship.
Which one did you go to?
Whatever CM Newton Stadium is.
No, I know which game. Auburn
the championship year. The champion, I watched.
2010, really?
I graduated during the championship year.
That's right.
I literally watched from the sideline Cam Newton fly out of out of bounds.
Yeah,
throw a touchdown essentially.
I didn't know that. I went in 15 when Sean White was there, so not quite this, but we won. It was a Thursday night. That was kind of fun.
Thursday night, man, that was the day that was the time, I should say.
I'll bring that up later.
Early game, Vanderbilt on November 2nd.
Oh yeah, just wait. Where is that?
That's at Auburn.
Okay, that's good. We don't have to go watch the screen from the Bobcat hanging out in the back of the end zone,
and they can actually watch how a board is made in smart.
That's true. They'll be able to see our construction.
And in the most oddly specific part of this schedule, 11:45, not even a window, just says 11:45, no negotiating ULM. That's
yippee.
It. 2 early games in a row.
Thank goodness the Warhawks get to plan their day up to a T, but for the rest of us who want to go to the actual games that matter, I know we lost to New Mexico State. Someone's going to comment that. But
just let it go.
11:45 for ULM. I don't understand that. And I think that's one of the biggest things I'm going to have to get used to with this ESPN contract is we're not on 11 a.m., 2:30, or 6 anymore, or even 6:30. It's like we got any minute on the clock is game for ESPN ABC.
Be ready to roll at
12:37 p.m. kickoff. Here we go.
Right. And then if that wasn't, difficult enough to process, 2 flexes to end the year with ending the year versus A&M. Hopefully that will be a night game for us to have a great end to the home year.
That's the only one I want. That I don't care what the rest of them do. They're probably going to mess it up, and I recognize that the A&M one is probably most dependent on how the year's going, right? It will be, but at the worst, it's an afternoon game. But for senior day and the last home SEC game, A&M's new coach, please just give me that one, Kyle. That's the only one I want.
I agree. I'll do what I can. I'll talk to the powers that be and see what I can do.
Thank you.
And then you understand this one. Alabama is really going to depend upon what both teams are doing at the end of the year. They want to put the Alabama-Auburn game in the best possible time slot to make the most viewership, to make the most money. I get it. I do. It's frustrating. We'd love to know exactly a more solid time frame, but maybe in an era where Auburn is showing that it is now stable and that Alabama also going through transition is still stable too, that we may know, just like the Alabama Georgia matchup, Iron Bowl will be played at 2:30 at Auburn or at Tuscaloosa, wherever it is that year. But that's your schedule.
That's
or
it.
your TV windows. Final thoughts?
There's some big windows, but they're windows, I guess.
I didn't even mean to set you up for that. There it is.
It'll be fine. It'll be something to get used to. I haven't really looked at other school schedules. I just feel like with Auburn and the nature of how they can be in any game or they can be out of any game is they're going to get a lot of these flexes. So it's probably something I need to get over and get used to, but that day's not today.
But it doesn't make for a good show because you got to have something to complain about so we can have our crotchety old man segment.
Duh. I mean, this is Auburn. We got to have something to complain about. I'm just following the rule of everyone else on Twitter.
Exactly. I mean, that's just how it is these days. It doesn't matter if it's Twitter, if it's wherever else. Facebook, folks.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Comment
All
section. Right. Okay, yeah, we don't need to get into
No. You don't. That's not. Don't open that door. We're doing good. Show's over. Let's just get out of here before we get ourselves in trouble. All right, that is the episode 81. We appreciate you all hanging out with us, spending some time, being a part of our little family within the Auburn family. If you want to keep up with me, do so on X at Kyle Loomis 24. Where can they keep up with you?
Yeah, at Austin G. Scott on X, Instagram, whatever. One last final note. Happy Father's Day to all those listening. Any fathers out there in our Auburn family, any fathers that are certainly deserving of being fathers and have been at any time. We are very thankful for you and for what you are. I'm a strong believer in that fathers and men are important in this world. So happy Father's Day to all those out there listening. Hope you've enjoyed a great day.
And shout out to the father of Auburn sports, George Petrie,
obviously.
And we could argue truly of what we know as the modern Auburn football, Shug Jordan. And then you could keep going, Pat Dye in a sense, and so on and so forth. Thanks to all the
father of the hurry up, no huddle. But
Kyle, just shut up and say happy Father's Day to all the Auburn fathers out there. It's done. It's done. All right. That's the episode. Thanks for tuning in. Till we talk to you again. War Eagle.
War Eagle.
All right. That's the show, folks. We appreciate you hanging out with us. Stick around. I will be here for a few more minutes with you all. Talk about anything maybe y'all mentioned during the show. Austin's got the floor for any final comments, things that he wants to address.
I don't think I got anything.
Okay.
I'm trying to think on
it's a good looking screen. It's a good looking
Thanks.
Screen.
Let me know, folks, what we should do with it. We got some we'll have to workshop some ideas, but don't be sending anything foolish my way.
Say, do you know what you just asked?
Look, I want real submissions, not like photoshops of Kyle singing the national anthem while he does his intro. WT. I want good stuff. I need some good info back here. I do. I'm gonna think about it this week. I'm probably gonna have a slideshow of things that I can just
do you have a clicker for it? Do you have a clicker or something?
Well, it's just an extension of my laptop.
Okay, I figured. I didn't know what the setup was.
I don't know what I'm about to do here.
Oh,
so this might
this
be
is
bad.
going to be bad. This is
see, there's my mouse right there. And I can just
well, we got everybody peek. What's he got on this thing?
Probably pictures of twins, if I had to guess.
It's safe. It's safe.
But yeah, so we'll see. If you got suggestions, let me know. Kyle and I are gonna. We're moving up in the world. We're on episode 81 for crying out loud.
It only took 81 episodes, but apparently we're moving up in the world now. But that's
right.
It's the nature of how we do things here. All right, sir. Thank you for hanging out, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Thank you. Y'all have a great week. War Eagle.
All right, folks. Hang out with me for a few more minutes here. We'd love to catch up with you about anything that you're interested in discussing. It's like a mini, very quick Wednesday night show from this point forward. Ask me pretty much anything and everything, as long as you can relate back to Auburn. If it's orange and blue, it's what we do. It's the slogan here. Now, a couple things while you're thinking about that, maybe some things that you want to post in the comments section. Let me give you a rundown of what to expect. As I mentioned, just got back from vacation. I should be done with crazy schedule stuff for the rest of the summer. And if that changes, we'll obviously let you know. But you can expect Wednesday night shows, Sunday night shows, and then some more random things here and there until we get closer to that football season where things are just going to start ramping up. We'll talk more about that later. But for the upcoming week, keep in mind that we will have an Auburn Family Night this Wednesday night. We'll talk about a lot of different things. We didn't even talk about the new video board and construction technically starting, but that'll be Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Join us if you can for a live call-in show. always a good time to hang out with you in a less formal, just kind of chill vibe. If you want to say chill vibe, I sound really not hip when I say that segment. And of course, we will do episode 82 of the Auburn Experience, what we're doing now, Sunday at 9 Eastern time. We appreciate you guys being regulars here. Obviously, if you are a TikTok person, you know that we do somewhat daily midday streams, no set time for those, usually in the lunch-ish hours. That's a very wide window. We operate in windows like the SEC schedule, apparently, TV schedule. So keep that in mind too. I would say we're expecting more recruiting news, just in the nearest future. So stay tuned for that. There will be some impromptu live streams for that. Any other thing that's worthy of it, and lots of other content coming out for you the rest of the summer. So stay tuned. If you're a Conquer Club member, be looking for some updates in there this week. We've got some things coming up we want to do with you guys. So that's kind of my rundown of announcements, housekeeping, things like that. What else? Anything on your mind that we haven't discussed yet that you'd like for us to discuss? I don't know if we were able to say hello to Bryant and who else popped in over there? Mr. Dennis, good to see you. Thanks, sir. Kevlar wants us to beat Duke. December 4th is his birthday. What a birthday present that you get a shot at taking down those Blue Devils on your birthday, which would be really cool to see. Really cool. Nothing like a winter's freeze while talking about these and those. I don't know whether to be disappointed or impressed with your very creative yet dad joke like on Father's Day usage of our two latest commits. I don't know how to respond. That's all. I'm just going to leave it at that. Our audience is something else. Something else. What else? WT said, you guys think Winters will have more puns about his name on signing day than the kid in the name of D's? Yes. I was trying not to go there with that, but I'll leave it to WT to point out the obvious that we just need to blow past at this point. Some final things that we didn't talk about during the show with the video board construction beginning. I will tell you that we'll post something about it tomorrow. I went by again. It's been a week since we passed by, which ironically was like the first day they got out there and started kind of moving some things around. It seemed like there's nothing really new as of today, a week after that date. But I just got some more images. There's maybe some more construction equipment. I would imagine this week there's probably going to be some more things. There is a likelihood that I will be passing through the Auburn area again in the coming weeks for a day at least. So I would say it's likely that we will give you yet another photo report, video report at some point about that project, probably about the baseball stadium construction. There's a lot of things that we got time to roll through there and roll through tumors and all that kind of stuff. So I think we're going to have a very fun and a very busy summer of stuff. This is one year that I've always felt like we're talking about during an Auburn summer. There's not a lot to dive into in detail, and it's the same things over. You got $5 from these 5 levels, the $5 to the $1 level. It's only spend 15 and pick your best Auburn team. Those things are who are the best of all times, these lists, and those are fun, but it does feel like the information has been more well spread out this year. So I think there's a lot for us to dive into and spend some time talking about it and not feel super repetitive. And we want to get to some of these creative things that we've talked about. A lot of you enjoy our Auburn Mount Rushmore series. We've done 3 episodes technically in it. The first was an intro where we kind of explained the concept, which prompted some good discussions. We have done the Mount Rushmore of Auburn quarterbacks, and we have done the Mount Rushmore of Auburn academic-based buildings. Both of those prompted some great discussions. I don't know which one we will do next. There's some obvious ones, but we also want to take these in different angles. So if there's something Auburn that you want us to do the Auburn Mount Rushmore of, it would be a good time to start suggesting some of those things, because we like to honor requests here. You never know, yours might spark our interest. But I would bet we would do something sports related. And WT, so that is a great one. It is. what we're trying our best to do is take smaller ones and work our way up to the more broad ones, like of coaches. So you want to do the Mount Rushmore of Auburn football coaches, of Auburn basketball coaches, and some of them won't have enough to really have that conversation. Like softball just now has their 4th and 5th technically of its young career. They just started, so it's hard to include either one of them in it. But we will do something like that eventually. That's a great suggestion, and it's one that will be done eventually. As we talked about with you guys, the Auburn Mount Rushmore project that we're doing is going to be an large thing when we have weeks where we need something to, not necessarily, it is to fill space and time, but it's also to, maybe give you a little bit of a different taste of something than the normal thing. All right, folks, we're going to get out of here. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thank you for those of you that were patient with the late start with me getting back from vacation. Saddle up, folks. We got a good Auburn summer here at E2C Network. Stay tuned, follow, subscribe, all those things across social media, podcasts, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, all the places that you can find us. Do it, or you'll miss out on some stuff. Thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out. And until I talk to you again, War Eagle.